Going home.
Tuesday night. Got a few things here. We need a checker outer. Do we have a checker outer? Or chief checker outer? Let's see what we got. Welcome everybody. Greg, EO, AGH, Rhett, Joe. Appreciate everybody being with us on a Tuesday night. We're about ready to get started here in just 1 second. Let's skip this ad. See if we got some sound. We got some sound. Check her outer. We checked her out. We checked her out ourselves. You had a nice little grin there. You were like, "Hey, can I hear some sound?"
Well, you're checking her out of yourself a lot, and I was thinking about, well,
Self-checker outing, outering.
Yeah.
I understand. I understand the game. I thought today we're going to risk the copyright infringement. We can't just do this in abject silence. We're going to go. Let's go with an old school Tuesday night mix. You'll recognize some of these tunes.
I feel like you're trying to get caught.
Yeah, at some point in time, you just want to get caught. Let's see what we got here. What are we going to start off with? Let's see. What do we got? Oh, yeah. All right. Hats off to the Black Crows. Sure, your algorithms, the internet YouTube algorithms are going to prevent us from making the 18 cents on this one, Kev. Don't worry. You'll still get your cut. No worries.
It. You always find a way.
I always find a way. Robert Cohen, welcome. On behalf of First Amendment Sports, I'm Ken Marangolo. Thank God it's Tuesday. Thank God it's Tuesday. Joining me this evening, Senor Kevin Rickey. I always used to give you a big senor. It's been a while.
I don't know how that happened, but I'm cool with however you want to do it.
Yeah.
It's always good to see you on a Tuesday after arguably my worst week as a Washington football fan.
We're going to get into that.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about it. We're going to wish our best to our main man T, who's out for a second straight week. We wish him the best. He'll be back here soon enough. He's just having a little bit of a stomach bug. Yeah, it's better.
Don't want to mess with that one.
You got to socially. That's what social distancing. That's where really social distancing came into fashion.
There's plenty of folks I'd like to give the diarrhea to, just no one in this basement.
No one in this basement. Yeah, we all appreciate that.
You're all welcome.
So, we have lots to talk about tonight, and it's not all going to be good, but it's not all going to be bad either. We are covering the Washington football team, and that team is currently 2-4 in second place, I believe, in the NFC East, which I was shocked to see on an elevator screen this week. I was reminded that 2-4 is good enough for second in the NFC East, and the news just doesn't get great as we move day by day this season. I thought it was interesting that the first time we have a 17-game season, 18 weeks, it's gonna feel like a 100-game season. It's gonna feel like a year-long season at this rate.
Yeah, when you've given up the most points in the NFL and the second most yards, that leads to a 97-game season. I don't know if you knew that was a fact, but it's just if the off the field shit doesn't stop, it's not going to be much longer of a season. And I can't. I've never been able to. I've always been able to
separate
the separation of church and state as far as this franchise goes. And now they're starting to cross family lines, and it's getting to the point where it's how am I supposed to watch the damn game with my wife and daughter and son and sit there and be like, hey, this is what we're so proud. We've always been proud of the players in the field, and that's what I've been able to associate. And listen, just because we're 2-4 doesn't mean this. It's the shit that Rivera is having to deal with, and he said it himself. It makes it a little bit tougher.
So let's talk about that. I was prepared for us to talk about that at the top of the show tonight because it's the top of mind. We will talk about some X's and O's. We'll talk about the game last week. We'll talk about the matchup this week. I mean, we're going to keep getting every single thing we could ask for in terms of competition. The good competition is going to keep on coming on the field. You know, I was thinking, Kevin, and if you'll indulge me, I was trying to think of the same thing. I asked myself that question. Now I've become more of let's just have like more of a, it's like a therapy session at this point in time. Like we're not even this is no pretense of a covering of sport anymore. This is straight up group therapy. Welcome to Rhett Donnelly, obviously Robert Cohen, and one young Tom Marangolo. Whew. Welcome, sir. how do we stomach this? How do we fight our way through it in a way that makes sense? Because we've been fighting our way through it for years, right? As long every iteration of every show I've been on, and you and I've been on a show now 6 years, almost better part of 6 years. We always try to do funny math there. The idea of the church and state separation, the idea of the shenanigans on Monday through Saturday make their way onto the field on Sunday. It's always been the case. Always been the case. Even when we had good players, the nonsense off the field, around the clock, year round, makes its way onto Sundays. But speaking of Tuesday, though, thank God it's Tuesday. The therapy session is 2021. John Tier, you are correct, sir. That's what we're here for, and we're all here to do this together. This is a together thing. So I'm working my way through this, Kevin, and I'm thinking,
hell, we all are.
It's like this juxtaposition of this is my favorite team for my life over the course of my life. We have had some good moments. You and I have. There's a whole group of people watching now and who are reading Hawks Haven and who are fans of this team who've never had it good at all ever. And the idea that the badness of this organization is like at the exact moment in time when the NFL is this global juggernaut of awesomeness, right? I mean, Sunday is awesome if you love football. It's just fun now. I mean, you can watch any game. For the most part, you can watch any game. You can follow it. You play fantasy football. You can legally gamble. You can be involved as you want in the NFL, and so much of it is just fun to watch, fun stories. If you want to, you can let the media get over themselves when they try to pump up this guy and that guy and different stories. The game is just amazing, and it's being played by amazing people. But not here. And so I'm trying to think like, all right, so all this time when we have been working our way through the last 20 years of Vinny and Bruce and all the crap, but still focusing on the field, still the shoulder pads and helmet guys, still between the whistles. And, man, it occurred to me that I get the most shit about this team from all my friends who are fans of other teams, and it just is it's now a somewhat constant reminder that officially, it seems, we, the fan base of this team, are left to shoulder the entire burden of what everyone knows about us, that we're dysfunctional, that the owner is morally corrupt, that the organization is bankrupt of goodness, and that we've done everything we can to insult people's intelligence, fans' intelligence, the national casual fans' intelligence. We've done everything possible as an organization to do everything wrong, for the most part, except when we're trying to do things right. I use air quotes because we didn't start doing things right until I keep saying we, damn it, and I love this team. They didn't start doing things right until they felt like they had to prove that they weren't doing everything wrong. And that's the only time when they started doing things right. Hiring Jason Wright, getting serious about women and minorities and changing the name and all this other crap that they did as a knee-jerk reaction because everyone knew who they were, who Dan Snyder is, and what kind of organization he's running. And he's getting away with it still to this day, constantly getting away with it. And we, the fans, are left to shoulder the entire weight of it. Dan Snyder doesn't have to answer questions about why the Redskins of the Washington football team are so bad. Dan Snyder doesn't have to answer a single question to a single reporter any day whatsoever, ever, about how terrible he is as a human being and as a leader of this team. But guess who does? I do. Kevin, you probably do. When you're talking to your friends who are Buffalo fans or Eagles fans or Niners fans or Rams fans or whoever, what's the first thing they ask you how you can be a fan of that team? What the hell are they doing? Why? How can you possibly get away with this? How is there a federal investigation into your team and no one's held accountable except for a coach of a different team? All this stuff. We're the ones who have to deal with it. Like the only ones. And it is unreal. And it was a realization to me today, Kevin.
And not just deal with it around the water cooler with coworkers and fans of different teams. How about trying to pass down this family tradition that's been passed down to us so amazingly, and it's been just interrupted in our generation so graphically.
Yeah.
And how are we supposed to pass this down to how do we share in this with our family, which is what we know this is. This is what we did with our families every Sunday when we gathered. It brought us all together. Now we sit here together and just disgusted And I've always, like I said, been able to disassociate it. But this guy, if your career at any level as a professional, whether it be coach, whether it be marketing, media, player, if you get near Dan Snyder, it's career suicide. No one takes off from here until they get out of here. You know, the couple head coaches that got out of here, the 3 studs that got the hell out of here, got out of here when the getting was good.
Yep.
Everyone else that comes here goes down in a ball of flames. Ron Rivera knew he signed up for a hell of a project.
Yep.
He could have had no clue what the scope of this reclamation project was when he signed that dotted line. And he got the biggest BS line from the Teflon Danny, who can't be touched. Everyone around him is freaking going down in a disgusting fashion while working for him.
Yep.
I mean, the grossest guy of all time, Bruce Allen, is the guy that he brought in here to do this, making Serrato look like a genius and a saint, to be honest, morally off the field. And now this guy, Bruce Allen, might be our only hope for getting rid of the Danny. I mean, listen, that's just in a deep, dark thought of mine. Can we use this guy's evil against him? He was part of this smuggling ring of disgustingness. You know, let's cut him a deal and see if we can get some info, because I know the dude doesn't do email, and we need the NFL to save our asses here. Do some of your disgusting NFL stuff.
Okay, that's next on the list.
Yeah,
next on the
go.
list. So the NFL pipes a product to the world on Sundays, Monday nights, and Thursday nights. And just as a quick sidebar, I know the board is responding as we go, and Greg, I appreciate the concept of, you know, you don't want to care about all the off the field stuff. You just want them to stop losing. I'm tying it all together. I mean, it's all one thing. It's
I felt that way forever.
Yeah,
Same exact way.
It's all one thing. But I do want them to stop losing, and I don't want to have to worry about this stuff. And it's not that it's not something I can just free myself of anymore. But so here's the thing. So we're left holding the bag as fans of this team. The only ones in the entire NFL universe who are holding the bag for the Washington football team at this point in time. No one in the front office has to answer for it. Dan Snyder doesn't have to answer for it. The NFL's not answering for it. No one's answering for it. The only one that takes any shit whatsoever about the terribleness of the Washington football team are the fans of the Washington football team. It is insane. And so it led me to think of the next thing. So Roger Goodell, I've turned the page. I'm now this guy who gets it. You know, I'm wear sweater vests, and I sit in my leather chair and have fireside chats and tell the world why I'm sorry that I blackballed Colin Kaepernick. And I believe now he's like, Ebenezer Scrooge on Christmas morning, apparently, except now when a federal investigation into one of the teams that he represents is one day at a time showing what we already know, which is that these guys are absolutely terrible people, and they're leading the NFL down a terrible path. Zippy out of Roger Goodell, zippy out of the league, spokesman, zippy from the NFL as an organization. None of the other owners who are, I'm sure, happy to watch Dan Snyder twist in the wind because no one really likes him. And when he gets a salary cap penalty here and he makes terrible decisions there, they don't care. But even when they were costing them money in one of the world's largest media markets, it didn't seem to bother them. And they haven't said word one about this. Mark Davis, what did he say? He was asked to comment on the John. He didn't even want to comment on his own coach getting fired. He said, "Ask the NFL." Guess what? The NFL doesn't have to answer that question. They might get asked it, but Roger Goodell hasn't said one word about it except for through a lawyer that nothing more is coming out about these emails. And so that to me is terrible because, you know, I've graduated to like this fan of watching football in general. Maybe putting a bet here, down here and there, playing a lot of fantasy football, enjoying watching offensive football, enjoying watching a great Buffalo defense against a great Tennessee defense last night. If they really think that they're going to continue to grow a game that kind of is borderless in terms of cities, and like instead of just loving your team, which everyone's going to love their team, you have to you love like the greater NFL. Nobody in the NFL is answering for this at all, and I think I think it's disgusting. First and foremost, I appreciate that John Gruden paid a price for the ridiculously terrible things that he put his name on and hit send. He hit the bricks like he should have hit the bricks, but there's no chance in hell that you can say, well, we fired John Gruden. Problem solved. The Washington football team is saved. The NFL is saved. Like, that is preposterous.
And you know what, Ken? If the NFL can work that way, maybe we got to use it to our advantage. Can't we just whack Dan Snyder's freaking ownership responsibilities without having to answer any questions? Because right now, the guy's famous for this past week of the offering of the hush money and all the disgusting crap and the emails of the cheerleaders and the thing pops up from 2009, 1.6 million to a former female employee. Like, of everything the NFL is trying to accomplish right now, and he is right at the bane of its existence, why is he still standing? Why is he still? Because his wife took over for a couple months? This is the most ridiculous.
It's unbelievable.
I can't, and you know what? Unfortunately, we've been around long enough to know that this leads to having the lowest attendance in the league, which leads to our home field advantage stinks. Our product right now stinks. And it's just the big dark cloud has grown right from under our nose, and we really thought we'd be in the top 2 defenses in the league. We're in the bottom 2. How that happened is far beyond me, and that needs to be rectified as well. That's its own set of problems that Jack Del Rio and the boys have. But it seems like everything's a freaking problem, and everything that Daniel Snyder touches is grotesque, and everything about him. And it's my final straw. I'm never leaving. I'm always watching this team, but it just doesn't. The hurt and losses isn't there. The wins that are more like a relief and like, hey guys, look, our team won. And my son's like, that game was awful. I'm like, I know. It really was.
I gotta give that microphone a shave.
Well, it ain't me.
All right, let me ask you this, Kevin, because we're
Talk to me.
From my basement on Tuesday night, I'm happy to put Roger Goodell on notice. Obviously, he didn't give a crap. Let me ask you this. And I'll ask you the people on the board this, because we will get to the product on the field, and that's the football part, and it is fun still in its own way.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a real fun conversation.
But let me ask you this: so, at what point is a man who was brought in to fix the culture? Do we want him to address the culture in a meaningful way? So, like, I know he's in charge of football. He's got a hell of a job to do, and the fact that he's the head coach of a football team, and we're in the middle of a football season. I know he doesn't want distractions. I know he doesn't consider all that stuff. He didn't do any of it. He wasn't part of any of it. I get it. But his number one job when we hired him was to turn around our culture. Everyone said it. Every single person said it. And even people who didn't believe it still said it. I believed it. I know he was an honorable, good man with a military background who's positively impacted everyone's lives who he's been around professionally and in terms of the communities he's served. And he was brought in to fix our culture. At what point do I want, and I'll answer the question, at what point do you want him to be in charge of, talking about it? Because I think it's now.
I don't know about ever, Ken. If it was a year ago, heading into this year with all that momentum that he had built up, and if we were 4-2 right now, hell, we'd be the Washington riverboats, for all I'm concerned. Everyone would be ready to hand this thing over and name the team after his nickname and do whatever the hell else that Ron Rivera has done. But Ron Rivera hasn't done it as a coach, and I feel like that's good that we've got culture and he's in charge. But he's in charge of the football side. Asking him to do anything that has to do with this tiny, gigantic piece of it is blatantly unfair and outside of his realm of responsibilities, and it's not on him to listen. He gives us a refreshing look at who we possibly are led by. But the stain, the disgusting smear of Dan Snyder, it's now resonated. It's in concrete. It's etched in stone now. It can't just be wiped.
It can't be. I don't know what the right answer is.
I'm asking Ron though, man.
It's not. I'm not asking him to solve the problem, because you can't solve the problem of Dan Snyder.
Well, you can't talk shit on your boss. That's just career suicide right there. Also, if you just want to go down in a ball of
we always said if anyone would stand up to him in that manner, it would be Ron. Because he would be like, because if Ron speaks up to Dan Snyder, he'll get another coaching job. I believe. But I'm not saying he should.
He's not doing a poor coaching job because of Dan Snyder and his bullshit right now.
Agreed,
it's two separate things, man.
Agreed.
And he's doing a poor coaching job. The buck stops with him. He's our head coach. I'm a big fan of him. I do believe he's a mentor and a great man of character who has changed the culture at that level. That maybe. The game plan isn't for that to translate into wins, but it sure is for all of us and anyone on the board here. Well, this NFL is such a quick turnaround. Why all of a sudden are we the turds? We were in a place last year to make a jump, to pounce this year. You and I talked about it for a year and a half during the damn pandemic, and now we're faltering. We've gotten so bad. We've gotten so poor defensively. It's one of the worst turnarounds I can ever remember. With any team in the NFL with the same exact defensive roster, same exact defensive staff. It's mind-numbing.
Yep. So the last thing, just to kind of finish out on this topic, and it's the topic we have to come back to it. But it's got to be hard on the players too, right? So Ron Rivera, he doesn't have to answer for anything. He's not culpable in any of this.
He has to answer for 2 and 4.
He has to answer for 2 and 4. But to me, I guess it's more of a spectator sport in a way to wonder where the tipping point is, where he feels like because he's the kind of man, in my opinion, who would stand there and be like, maybe take a deep breath and go, man, this sucks. Like, this is terrible. Like, I can't believe this. I don't know what to say.
You lied to me, you little piece of shit. Yeah, you lied about everything.
I can't believe this is going on.
Everyone warned me about you.
Exactly. Like, just something like that. Not for him to be like, I have a 10-step plan on how to fix this problem. There's no 10-step plan. There's nothing. I'm not asking for that. I just don't want to be the only one with all of you out there and with you here getting asked the questions and having to deal with the terribleness and basically, it's almost like we're responsible because we love a football team. Like, we've enabled somehow Dan Snyder, and I don't think that's true. I never have, and I never will think that that's true. I just don't. But all right, so this story isn't going anywhere. There's no way that we're not going to get to the bottom of this at some point in time. Just remains to be seen how long that point in time is.
Just another cockroach guy making his way through another season.
Yes.
In our area of complete 23, 24 years of just disgusting.
So, and again, that disgustingness has made its way from the headlines and the papers and the internet to the 60 minutes of football on Sundays, right? So, despite Ron being a great guy and despite, us being super young and crazy fast and, having some things in place, it is not working. Like, whatever it is not working. Is it scheme? Yeah. Is it coaching? Yeah. Is it players not doing it? Yes. It's all of it. Like, when Jerick McKinnon catches the ball 4 yards behind a first down marker and breaks 3.5 tackles, I mean, yeah, it's all freaking broken, all of it. And did we all pencil in a win against Kansas City before the season? Hell no. But was that game winnable? Hell yes.
I guess.
So
they did whatever they wanted to us in the first half. And everyone's saying it was one of our best halves of defense.
Well,
they had 275 yards on it, 274 in the first half, and 2 red zone turnovers, 3 turnovers.
The turnovers.
We were given false hope.
The chances that we didn't do anything with the chances. It was false hope because you don't expect us to have been able to do it, but we did get those turnovers.
They took McLaurin away, and then
they did.
And at that point, Andy Reid is he knows how to take your best offensive weapon from you. He takes it from your arsenal and says, "Now what?" Well. Now what is all of a sudden J.D. McKissick start leading receiver and rusher. Here we go. We have no De'Ami Brown. Terry McLaurin's been taken out.
No Logan
Curtis
Thomas.
Samuel. No Logan Thomas. And all these guys we
no
thought.
No Cosme.
It's just bullshit, man.
Yeah.
All of Brennan Sheriff is already gone. No Brian Fitz. What are we doing? But
it's a shell of. And let's even be more honest here. If that's a word. We came into the season hoping against hope that a 39-year-old quarterback was going to be the it factor for this offense. I get it. We didn't come in here to be world beaters on offense necessarily, but man, we've been so so much better on offense than on defense, which is a crazy thing to even think about.
I know. And I love how Heineke's competed. Yeah. Has he been awesome? No, I'm not saying that. But I think he's one of our best players.
Yeah,
and,
so let me ask you,
one of our chances on offense.
Let me ask you this, Kev. On offense, Scott Turner, is he doing enough with what Taylor Heineke does well?
I guess. You can't just all of a sudden start running like quarterback. You can't run the quarterback. You know what I mean? We're down to Kyle Allen's at number 3, and who knows where Steven Montez is these days. But I don't know. You know what? I think they're giving it everything they got offensively. We knew coming in we'd be limited with all these injuries. I think they're doing okay offensively. It's to be expected. It's obvious where our obvious, glaring, brutal part of our football team has just fallen off a cliff.
It's unfathomable.
Everyone loves to ask, what do you I'm like, you know what? I've never been more clueless in my life. I cannot understand for the life of me how these same exact dudes are playing so poorly when we started clicking last year. We're playing at such a level. I don't get it, man. I mean, Ken, if you're a quarterback, for a team that's played against the Washington football team this year, your numbers are, this is the average of the 6 starters that have played against us. At the end of the day, your numbers are going to be 26 for 40. All right? You're throwing at a 65% clip. 317 yards, 3 touchdowns, and you're going to average 6.5 yards per carry. Your turnover.
The quarterback is.
The quarterback. That's the quarterback standard. That's the standard
it's
right
like
now.
Pound ball numbers.
You're just writing what they're going to get. 26 for 40,
like
317, rush for 6.5, and the touchdown to interception ratio is 4-1. You think Aaron Rodgers is looking at all this going, you know what?
God.
Guess who's coming to town this week? Because this is a dude who's top 10 in yards and touchdown passes all time. I think he's 5th and 10 in completions. This is one of the greatest of all time, and he's just been handing it off. If we're a goddamn good defensive team, let's do what good goddamn defensive teams do and take away the other team's best player. Because right now, Devontae Thomas has Devontae Adams has more yards receiving than the next 5 receivers combined for the Green Bay Packers. Combined. And has more yards receiving than Green Bay has rushing combined on the season. You talk about a one-man gang. Now, obviously, it's Aaron Rodgers, but...
Yeah. And he's impressive. Devontae Adams is...
He's a star.
He's
a star, but you know what? This defense was supposed to be able to shut stars down. It's supposed to be a top 5 defense, and it was last year. Same cats, same dudes. And listen, you're going to tell me Ronald Darby and William Jackson are that different of a player? No, get out of here, man. No. Say it, so they are. That's the difference? No, it's not.
Tough question. Go ahead. I hate asking this question because, and I'm not trying to set you up, or
now
us.
It feels like a setup, Ken.
Well, it's the Landon Collins question. You know, I love Landon Collins. He was off the field last year when we did what we did, and he's on the field this year, and he's making plays that are a little bit like if you're a coach. I'm not a coach. You're a coach. But I know enough to when I see him go in coverage and the things that he does in coverage, and I'm like, and I know he's a safety. He's not supposed to always be covering. Like, I'm not saying cut Landon Collins. I'm not saying bench Landon Collins. No. But I am wondering aloud, you know, what's the deal with 26? Or what impact has he had positively? And do you think that he, you know, that where he's weak has hurt us? Because the safeties we had, you know, when we had, you know, Curl and Reeves and Curl and a couple other guys last year, it seemed like it was working differently. I don't know.
I don't either.
I don't know.
I just
because he's a stud.
I know it. I've defended him forever because I thought he was an outstanding football player, but it's the same exact way I feel about the entire defense this year. He is kind of representative of that. You know, it's you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. We cannot play him in coverage. He is a safety. He's not a linebacker. We pay him $8 gazillion. Yep. This is a nightmare. This was a leftover. This was not a signing by Ron Rivera and company, and they had the choice, but we had to force fit him into being a productive guy for us, which I never thought I would say out loud. I loved him in New York. He was great against us in New York. He led the NFL in third down tackles, getting guys off the field.
I know.
He led the NFL in making the tackle that the rest of your teammates put their fist up for. Fourth down. That's what we are worst at right now.
Oh, yeah.
And he's on our team, and just none of this shit makes sense defensively to me. Scheme-wise, look, yeah, I coach freaking 11-year-olds. I've been a high school guy. I spent 2 years in Division III, but
yeah.
I have no idea what the hell they're scheming up with these guys. Right? No chance. Zero. I know this. Landon Collins can't guard his shadow, and he should not be in coverage. Every time you look up, someone's catching the ball or running down the field with him in coverage, and that's just we can't just go out there and be like, well, I mean, we pay him this much and blah, blah, blah.
I know.
Like, what the hell are we doing, man? What the hell are we doing?
Well, so last night you watched Tennessee and Tennessee and Buffalo play, and I loved watching those defenses because they do drop safeties close to the line of scrimmage or walk them up, whatever you want to say. And I know that Landon Collins plays a lot closer to the line of scrimmage. So if Jamin Davis, I think Jamin Davis is a great prospect, and he's not there yet, obviously, because he's clearly not there yet. He's not making an impact on this defense at this point in time. Does moving Landon Collins, is there any possible way you can move Landon Collins up into that in a hybrid role? But the problem is all these great hybrid safety guys, like Ramsey and Adams and some of these other guys. But they can cover, and Collins can't.
I was going to say, now you got him up there, and he's going to have to guard a back out of the backfield.
Oh,
like, good luck, bro. Like, I mean, I know what you're saying, and it makes sense on paper, but eventually, there's some smart dudes out there calling plays, and when they want to get a matchup, they're going to scheme your ass to the point where they're going to get say we're playing the Saints. You're going to get Kamara lined up with, they're going to figure out how to, in motion, get that's going to be the cover guy on a guy that we're playing against, and whether it's Pollard in Dallas or freaking who knows, man. But right now, I've gotten to the point of I can't defend him anymore. I can't defend the defense. I can't defend the franchise. I can't defend. I'm not giving up. I'm never giving up.
Never giving up.
I cannot possibly believe that right now, 6 weeks into the season, that we're sitting here just having everyone put 30 on our ass every time we show up and damn near 450 yards.
Yeah.
It's that we're getting taken to school
almost like
by
without trying.
everyone. Everyone's offensive coordinator has just, even the games we've won has just sat there and schemed up Del Rio and pulled his pants down in front of Landover. And no one even gives a shit.
Well, in front because Landover's full of the other team's fans, which, so they get a chance to see that.
But not enough of them because we're still last in attendance.
And
we're not even getting enough of everyone else's damn fans anymore.
I know
this is really getting
when
bad.
that stat came out. Which again, who gets the lowest attendance in the league meme? Does Dan Snyder? I hope Dan Snyder gets it to his phone. My guess is he doesn't, and nor does he care. It says 51,000 people are showing up at these games. No effing way that 51,000 people are in those seats. I know the game. I know how they count. I know what they're counting. It ain't 51,000 people in that stadium. I promise you. It's worse than it seems. But who gets trolled? Us, the fans, obviously, which is terrible. All right, so our defense is not clicking. The reigning NFL MVP is clicking in Aaron Rodgers. If we can just take a second, again, how do we have fun here? I mean, I love Aaron Rodgers. I know he's weird. He's a weirdo. He's a straight
He's lost
weirdo.
his damn mind.
He has lost his damn mind. But he can play football, man. And I love watching. I mean, I don't hate the Bears at all. But when he scored that touchdown and he said, I own you, I've always owned you, I still own you, like in the end zone, he's shouting at the fans. I mean, it would hurt me, obviously, if a good player did that, to me, and if I was in the stadium. But I love it. I love that mentality. I love how he plays. I don't think we've really had his number ever.
He's a greasy-haired old millennial hipster just talking trash in Chicago.
Stealing carburetors.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Stealing carburetors and airbags from cars. That's what he does.
I mean, how do you just downgrade from? I mean, his whole dating thing coincides with this whole horrible haircut and new hipster lifestyle.
And he's going to get $100 million.
How do you go from Olivia Munn to? I know Danica Patrick is blah, blah, blah. Olivia Munn just seems like a really great person. I don't know. I know this. Now it's like I don't know, man. He just creeps me out.
Someone who just drives for that many hours in a row, like I don't know if that's like that's a great thing. Like it just doesn't.
He's going to throw for 478 yards this week. Like what?
And their defense is not bad.
No, and they're struggling a little bit on offense, but nothing feels better than having that DCA charter heading on into to Milwaukee. Oh, I mean that just got to warm the soul.
Right. There's that. We're like the Washington football team is literally keeping the airlines in business, for every home game because they're just every city is bringing all their fans into DC. It's a destination. I was trying to think of like bright spots in terms of the experience of watching the game, and it does to some extent come back to Taylor Heineke for me, because I think of Kirk Cousins is the one who got me started on this. Of course, the Vikings release there's only 3 quarterbacks who've thrown for 30,000 yards and 200 plus touchdowns in their first 115 games. It's Peyton Manning, Dan Marino, and Kirk Cousins, which is just like a ridiculous stat. And I get it. It's the age of whatever, and he does Kirk Cousins stuff. But it got me thinking, the list of quarterbacks that we've suffered through during this terrible time as a WFT fan, which we're not going to do the list now, but we'll do the list again sometime. And I just look at Taylor Heineke and I'm like, he's so much better than the average donk that we've had to watch. He just is. I mean, we just toss a couple of names out there. Toss your Tony Banks out there, your John Beck, your Danny Werfel, your Shane Matthews. Again, off the top of my head, just the ridiculously less than mediocre, the Josh Johnsons, the Mark Sanchez's. I mean, we've seen it all. We've seen as bad as if there was a guy out there who had any kind of a live arm with a couple throws left in it, we suited him up over the last 20 years. And Taylor Heineke's better than those guys. I mean, he is. He can do things well, and that's kind of why I asked you the question. I'm just trying to figure out, like, how do you tap into Taylor Heineke because I think he's giving us everything he's got. But how do you, as a coach, figure out a way to get just enough out of him to make up the difference? And I only had one thought, and that was, and then of course, this is going to get McKissick killed. But initially in the season, the running back out of the backfield was Taylor Heineke's third or fourth progression, almost always. Those guys were running open. Gibson, Patterson, McKissick, generally speaking, always open, and he was always looking downfield, which I love. I love that as a quarterback. But our offensive success in the second half of last season was completely predicated on McKissick catching the ball out of the backfield. And so,
the focal point for our offense this year is to make plays down the field.
I know.
Because last year's three-yard pass and a cloud of dust was not exactly what we were hoping for. But I do get it, and I know what you're saying, and it's effective. But that's when our defense was effective.
Watch those guitars, boys.
And right now, our defense is not effective. Yeah, that's a terrible game of catch. No ball in the house. Jesus.
Unbelievable, Rhett.
Ridiculous.
That's true. So I'm not trying. Again, I still have a great deal of respect for Turner's offensive schemes. I don't think offensively the schemes are what is hurting us. Which leads to this on the scheme question. Defensively, I'm ready to talk about just figuring out a way. What are we doing that we need to scrap? I mean, we're not getting it done scheme wise. I'm ready to say it. If you're going to tell me that, or if you, as in Del Rio, are going to say, "Well, I don't have the players to do this or that," you don't have the players to do what you're trying to do right now.
Well, our secondary stinks. Our linebackers are awful, and our front four, which I think is pretty damn good, is getting exposed because of points 1 and 2. I don't see how else. You're not going to tell me right now that there's that front four of guys is not competing. They're all, they're all playing hard. But you know what?
I know
there's 7 other dudes out there, and it's been real tough. There's other 7. Cole Holcomb's been playing his ass off. I'll give him that. He's flying around out there and making things happen. But Jesus, we brutally average everywhere else. We're just not good, man. So maybe it is. Listen. The one thing we love is the signing of these guys and the drafting of these guys. We're finally doing it based on what we're doing defensively. These guys are gonna fit. We're not just drafting talent and saying go ahead and make them fit somewhere. We're drafting specific 2-position guys that we like based on our defense, the style of our defense, and we're just getting smoked. We're just getting gashed by everyone, every which way but loose.
So
Jesus.
I said there is a silver lining, as razor thin as it is, and it is razor thin. I promise you, with paper thin silver lining, and it's no. Again, I made sure to say that I do like Taylor Heineke, and I don't think he's our problem at all. But if Fitz can make it his way back onto the field, the one thing that he gives you that we're not getting from anybody else is that miracle factor. He does do things on the football field and proven things. He's done. I mean, it's not. I'm not hoping against hope that for something crazy. He has a thing about him, and this is a classic Fitzmagic scenario. We are down in our luck. We're up against it. We're giving up a ton of yards and points, and he is exactly the kind of guy that comes literally out of the parking lot, out of the stands, and throw pads and a helmet on him. I don't think he's not ready to come out yet. I mean, I think he was like 6 or 7 weeks. Was minimum.
I haven't heard a damn thing about him since I can remember. He's gone like.
So he declined surgery,
right.
and he's in the cut. He just he hangs out in the weeds, and this is what he did in Miami last year. Is he in
the cut or is he in the weeds?
I don't know. I don't know the difference. I said them both because I'm hedging my bets.
Yeah. Well, if you're in the weeds, you're in the weeds. You're not in the cut. If you're in the cut, you're in the cut, but you're not in the weeds.
Can he be in the cut? I want him to be in the cut.
All right, he's in the cut.
All right, he's in the cut. Fitzmagic's in the cut. If he gets healthy and suits up, I will be excited because I think that right now we need something to bridge the gap from being a loser to being a winner, and he might have just enough to make that happen.
For Daniel Snyder, he's going to need to pull like a 19-pound rabbit out of his own ass during a play because I know he brings the magic, and I would like to see him.
Yep.
We just talked about how we feel about Heineke.
Yep.
Hey, man, you have Ryan Fitzpatrick. You're 2-4. You can't really make many. You can't look at Heineke and be like, "Hey, man, you got to say, hey, we got to try the magic, man. We got to."
Oh yeah.
Even if he's got one hip
and
that
benching anyone,
and that huge rabbit like
you're just
tumbling around that jock strap. But I'm just saying that would have to be the case.
Yeah.
To make everything normal because he's a magician, but unless he can make freaking Terry McLaurin's double coverage disappear and bring back Curtis Samuels and have De'Ami Brown healthy and bring back Logan Thomas. He's gonna have a hard time.
I know, but I
want to see it too.
I want to see what that is because this is when he never does better than when he has no reason whatsoever in the world to do well.
That is our only possible thought process, but the problem is his 39-year-old bearded ass doesn't play linebacker, safety, or corner.
Yeah, I know.
Or he can't kick.
Or tight end.
He might be able to kick. Who knows? We'll see.
I mean, we got a Hall of Fame kicker in Tress Way. Not Dustin.
Wow.
Oh my God! So I think Fitz is more like after the bye, which is a couple weeks away, 2-3 weeks away. The other thing I was thinking about was this again. This is like this stupid idiot in me, and it's because we've been 2-4 and 3-6 and 2-5 so many freaking times. Like we've never made the playoffs without starting this way, in the last 10 years. I mean that's the truth. Which is, I'm not saying we're gonna make the playoffs now, but I think
you can tuck that whole thing in between your legs and walk around the basement and cluck.
We need to tuck and cluck.
That's
the old
about done.
TNC. Yeah, the old tuck and cluck. All right, so
the old TNC.
I don't know the old tuck and cluck. Who knows? But anyways, we can't
pull your pants up.
Come on, Rhett. For goodness' sake,
just be so suggestive, Ken.
Know
the audience.
Know the audience. You got to know the audience. All right, so we can't not talk about the disrespect to Sean Taylor. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it because it upsets me, and
it's the worst part of the whole week.
It was the worst part of the whole week, and I didn't want to talk about it around this Dan Snyder stuff because
I just say it's the worst part of the whole week because everything else was based on hearsay but we know what. But this happened for real. This was tangible. This was sickening.
They literally said like that's the other reason why I'm so peeved at the world of the NFL for not owning up to this, which is on the NFL. To me, it's on the NFL at this point. It's fully on the NFL, not just Dan Snyder. This is an NFL problem that all this stuff came out and they decided in some room somewhere that they were going to pull this card out on we were here last Tuesday night. It wasn't a thing at all. It was never announced. It was never a thing. It was never planned. Sean Taylor's brother said, I didn't know anything about it until Wednesday. We didn't know anything about it until Wednesday. It came out and it was blatant. A blatant distraction, and just to me, you just took one of the few good things that we had as Redskins fans and now Washington football team fans, one of the one good things, and then you just and my dad, my dad's right. He's commenting on it. to me, like you can argue that Jason Wright's been doing an awesome job, but man, he's complicit in this. He is fully complicit in this.
Or is he doing the company line and we're going to lose him because of it? I mean, I don't know.
Well,
You
he
never
should.
know.
We should. This is when you should lose people. This is when people should be like, this was wrong. I'm out of here. Jason Wright, if he's is worth his salt, if he's as good as we all think he is, because he has been doing some good things, he needs to get the hell out of here immediately and say, I'm done. I can't believe I was a part of this for 6 days, since it happened. Unbelievable that Jason Wright was a part of this. Unbelievable that the people that they've hired in the last 12 months were a part of this. It is so insulting. It's literally and Ewald, I know Kevin Ewald's on the board tonight. To me, like, it's the most insulted I've ever been as a Washington football team fan. Ever.
To use one of our most beloved heroes who's no longer with us as a pawn in your dirty, disgusting game of misogyny. I mean, legitimately, just for being an overall disgusting piece of shit. And then to use this man's family and to use this franchise the way he's used it, like a dirty dish rag for the last 23 years. I mean, is anyone not aware that this is an inside job, that he's trying to take this whole thing down and he ain't leaving? I mean, everything he's done has been horrendous. And it's no longer the cute little trying to buy the old fantasy team of washed up 38-year-olds.
I was okay with that.
That was, and that made everyone so angry. This is the disgusting treatment of human beings at a relentless rate. And good God Almighty, it's the first time it's crossed over for me. This Sean Taylor thing is a complete insult to all of our intelligences and our heart and soul and our feeling about that guy and this franchise. You just messed up everything. You just took everything pure. One of the only pure things we've had in your tenure. And you took a big fat shit on it like you've taken on us and everything else.
Robert Cohen, you're saying what I'm thinking. But I don't want Ron to resign. I don't. We need him. We need him bad. But that's what I'm saying. Like this, what happened this past week? We're gonna all of a sudden randomly retire Sean Taylor's jersey on a freaking, whim. One of the greatest players of all time. We've only retired
against the Kansas City Chiefs, as if that's like some important NFC East battle that he took part in.
That no one was coming to except Chiefs fans.
An obscure 1 o'clock. How? How do you not think?
It's not planned. We've retired. Okay, we've retired 2 jerseys ever. Sammy Ball and Charlie.
And this year, Bobby Mitchell.
I always say Charlie Taylor, but it's Bobby Mitchell. We should retire Charlie Taylor's jersey. Bobby Mitchell and Sammy Ball. Only two jerseys ever. We haven't retired Riggins. Haven't retired
Darryl
Monk.
Green.
Haven't retired Green. Haven't retired B. Mitch. Guys who...
Don't worry, it'll be top secret. We'll find out right before the Jets game.
They're just
It'll
waiting.
Awesome.
They're just waiting.
Right before the Jets preseason game at 6:30, we're going to retire the Hogs.
Oh,
good luck.
Yeah,
that was such bullshit. It was such bullshit.
It's the most insulting I've ever.
I know E.O. Anderson down in Carolina, and is a huge Sean Taylor fan. How do you let that guy know how to get his hotel room 4 tickets? Well, the tickets wouldn't have been very hard, to be fair, but hotel room, make plans with a family. That needs to be announced a long-ass time ago, and everyone that knows anything about this franchise knows that. You cannot write a tweet and make it go away. You can't make it better. You can't make it right.
Nope.
You can redo it. You can't redo this. It's all done. The damage is done. You've mauled everything.
So this is my all-inclusive thought on this. This is my response now. We're all responsible. Every single, not Redskins fans, not Washington football fans, Washington football team fans, NFL fans. Any person who comes at me from Dallas or New York or Philly or Kansas City or San Francisco or Buffalo, blah, 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 and they're like, but, I can't believe it. I say, you know what? You're in on it too, brother or sister, whoever it is that's coming at me. You're in on it too. It is all of us. If you watch the NFL on Sunday, like I do, and I know you do, Mr. Buffalo Bills fan, Mr. San Francisco 49ers fan, I know you watch it, Mr. Green Bay Packers fan, I know you do. Guess what? You're in on it too. Everyone's in on it at this point in time. Every single person's complicit in this whole thing. This is I am fed up. I'm no longer. I'm done with holding the bag on this one. I do like watching football on Sunday, and you know what? I'm going to keep doing it. But guess what? I ain't footing the bill on this one. Not one more second. Anyone who comes at me and asks me about this stuff, I will turn back to them. I say, "Do you watch the NFL on Sunday?" Guess what? you're in on it too. We're all complicit at this point in time, and so we're just going to keep talking about it. That's my thing. I'm not going to stop watching football, and I'm not going to stop loving it. I'm not going to stop rooting for my guys. I'm not going to stop rooting for 17. I'm not going to stop rooting for 24. I'm not going to stop rooting for Taylor or 99. My hometown guy. I'm not going to stop doing it, and I'm just going to say we're all in on it together. There's no more. This is a sham. This is what is enabling it. The Washington football team fans are not responsible for enabling Dan Snyder. The other 31 teams are more responsible. That's where I'm coming from at this point in time. If you're an NFL football fan, guess what? You're more responsible about Dan Snyder than I am at this point in time, and that is a fact. Because you're the ones going to games. You're the ones buying jerseys. You're the ones paying the concession stands. It's not me. It's no one from Washington. There wasn't a freaking Washington fan in the whole entire stadium on Sunday. Maybe there was 10. Maybe there was a few dozen. We're not doing it anymore. So guess what? You're doing it, but it's your problem too. And until the rest of the league and the rest of the league's fan base embraces this thing, is not going to get solved. That's my message, Kev. I'm saying, you know what? You come at me because of the owner of my favorite team is a scumbag and needs to be dragged out back and have the crap beat out of him. Guess what? 31 teams and all those fans, you're way more responsible for it than I am at this point in time.
Please tell me that in those 650,000 emails that there's something or anything that the NFL has right now that the other 31 owners can get together and use their monopoly for good, not evil, for the first time ever, and get rid of this dude because I can't handle it for one more second.
I know.
It's what everyone's been saying, and I know this, and I've heard it forever, but the team. Last week, with everything that went down and the disgustingness that just kept punching us in the face every time we picked up our phone. It's Dan Snyder. Go. No one wants you here. You're despised. You're the Satan in our football world.
Yeah.
It's so.
And Tanya too now. Guess what? Sorry, Tanya.
Yeah.
You're out.
You guys are not.
It's done.
I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I can't. Now I'm always gonna watch. I just can't.
Yeah. I was gonna say we're gonna be on at 1 o'clock on Sunday.
Yes,
we're gonna be watching.
I'm gonna be watching.
100%.
The pain of it. Me trying to force feed it down to my family. You know what? Why do that? Why force feed them a big pile of shit? Why? Why do that? So let's see what happens. Let's see how it transpires. Let's see if they can come back from adversity. Let's see if Daniel Snyder can get the hell out of here at some level. Can you imagine the celebration?
Oh, my goodness.
Can you imagine, like, the ease, the weight of the world would be off all of our
shoulders? It's what I'm
here
for. It's what I'm waiting for. It's why it drives me. It absolutely drives me. And I do pass it down. And I will continue to pass the love of the tradition down. And I will, but in the same breath, my kids know. My kids know who the owner of this team is and why he deserves to be dragged out back and left for the rats. Like that, they know that. I make it clear. Like,
is he like fenced in and then we release the rats?
Oh, by the way, did you see the picture? The junkies. I think one of the junkies put out a picture of like he showed up on Sunday. He was wearing like.
Oh yeah.
He looked like a homeless guy.
He did. No, he was trying to I don't know what he was trying to do.
I don't know what he's trying to do.
He's always been in a suit and clean shaven. What's he going for? I quit. I sold my soul to the devil years ago for the ability to take this franchise down from the inside.
Yep.
And now it's showing. I don't know, man. I can't do it anymore.
Nope. We're gonna keep watching football. That's what's gonna happen, and we're gonna do it with the other 31 teams fans. And guess what? If we all it's gonna take 32 teams worth of fans to bring down the ownership of the Washington football team. It can no longer be done by just us. So we start right here, ground floor, ground zero. This is where it all starts, right this very second. If you want to be a part of taking down Dan Snyder, it can't just be Washington football team fans anymore. It can't. We've wanted him gone for a long time. 2 decades.
Ever since Jeff George.
Yeah, ever since Jeff George.
You're going to get rid of Brad Johnson.
So we need your help. We need your help. It can't be our battle anymore. It has to be all our collective battles. It has to be a joint task force. It can't just be Washington fans. It has to be fans from all around the league. If you love the NFL, if you love what it stands for, if you love what you think is great about it, we all have to be together on this. Dan Snyder has to go. It can't just be us. It won't just be us, DL Hughley style. Don't act like it's just me. Don't act like it's just me. Buffalo fans and Kansas City fans and Dallas fans and New York fans. Don't act like it's just me. We all know it. It has to be done by everybody. I don't know how else to say it.
Oh, you said what you had to say.
We're going to continue saying it. Oh, God. So we're 2-4 going against the Green Bay Packers on Sunday. It's going to be fun. Let's see, Kevin Ewald. Did they really sell those towels for $20? Okay, Kevin Ewald, I can't do it. I can't do the Sean Taylor $20 towel story at this point in time. But
they should have just made it 21.
Just made it. But just make it $21.
Sick bastard.
With the tax, and they're like it's $21.20.
Yeah, and the
$21.21,
and then the price gouge.
Yes.
Just we'll regouge you.
Yes. You could have had this for free if you were one of the first 10,000.
Right.
And you look around, and you're like, there's not 10,000 freaking people here right now. How in the world are you telling me I can't get a towel? I know there's not 10,000 people here. Oh God. All right. Well, listen. Tuesday nights are for getting this kind of stuff off our chest. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us while we do just that. And I'll tell you what, it doesn't. If we, the beauty of it is that it does take us through all these emotions, and the beauty of it is, you know what, we're not just going to turn a blind eye to the things that matter. We're not. This team matters to us, and so we're going to keep fighting for it. I appreciate you guys, hanging with us. I certainly appreciate you guys joining the board and being part of the conversation. To all the folks at Hogshaven, we greatly appreciate your involvement and your engagement. All of our, NES Tecmo, to answer your original question, it's a Bushmills Black Bush night. It's a good batch. The E.O. Anderson, appreciate you, being on the road and catching us from the road. Welcome back to the States. Greg Martin, congratulations on the big reveal. If you want to put it on the board, I'll let you put it on the board, but that's your business. I'm so proud and happy for your family. That's awesome. To Tom Marangolo, I love you, man. Everything that we did, watching this team growing up, that's why we're here right this very second. He's got the same skin in the game, no pun intended, as we all do. And so, we're just going to keep watching the games, and we're going to make our way to better pastures. And I do believe that. I absolutely believe that. But it ain't going to happen overnight. And the road from here to there is just not ever going to be easy. It's not.
May Daniel Snyder's yacht fall onto him somehow, some way. And I don't wish death upon anyone.
No, just
mar his face enough for NFL not to be able to use the likeness. And then they'll throw him out like yesterday's garbage.
No more likeness. Awesome. All right, well, hopefully next week we got a third member back. But until then, he's Kevin Ricca.
Yes, and hey, if not for this team, how would we celebrate with friends and family? And, we've talked about how family it is. Look at all the friends on this board. These guys, we've gotten together on Tuesdays for several years. And you know what? We'll get through this patch. It'll be better because it can't get any worse.
No.
And as soon as we say that, let's prepare for this week. But so far, so good on a Tuesday.
October 19th, 2021.
Yep.
We said this was ground zero. So we're in day one. The countdown to Dan Snyder being gone from this team officially. The countdown's been much longer than I get it. And I don't know how long this countdown's going to go for, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to start making the count. I'm going to make it a thing. For me, personally, it doesn't have to be everyone else's thing. The days have been counted already, but now all my realizations and my, my history of, being our history of being so close and rabid about doing this, but also, covering it and having a voice. Even if it's not like, I'm not on ESPN or anything like that. Who cares? Day one of this fight, and we need it has to be joined by fans of other teams. We will know we're successful when other teams join this fight, because we know we can't win as just one fan base. We know we can't, and it's impossible. It has to be multiple teams, fan bases for this thing to work. Everyone has to be embarrassed by this guy. Everyone has to be shamed by this organization for us as Washington fans to get what we need, and we're going to do it.
He was fined $10 million this past July for fostering a workplace. It's just the atmosphere in which sexual harassment was commonplace. Like, what are we doing?
I know.
Somebody get rid of this piece of shit somehow, some way. Like, I don't care how. Anyone in DC? Anyone
No,
in
well,
DC?
that's not. Yeah.
No. Just to sell his franchise card.
Force the sale.
His franchise
Force the
card.
sale.
That's it. Or the Daniel Snyder Wedgie Challenge. Let's just see who can go to the internet and make this thing go viral. Or just
That's a
Wedgie
great
someone
challenge.
that looks like Daniel Snyder. Like, I mean, just you didn't hear it here first. Rhett
You didn't hear it
Donnelly.
here first, even though it is day one.
He's
Rhett,
my number one.
Joe,
He's my number one pick.
Board, love you guys. Awesome hanging out with you on a Tuesday night. Got copyright infringements coming our way, I'm sure, as John Denver sings this out. I'm Ken Marangolo. On behalf of First Amendment Sports, thank you for joining us on an awesome Tuesday night. Please subscribe. Please like. Got a couple likes already. Hey, give us a couple extra likes. Come on, we're going to solicit a like or two.
Such
Subscribe for free.
A like beggar.
It is and was. Thank God it's Tuesday. EO, we're still live.
Should we go throw stuff at his house?